Yeah, just because you're about to go live.
Good evening, Councillor. Good evening, Councillors, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the BTAC committee meeting. I'm Councillor Patrick Marley, the chairman of the committee. My right is Councillor Paul Vincent, who is vice chairman of the committee. Before we start the meeting, I need to run through a few housekeeping details. I would like to remind everyone in attendance this evening that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube. Please note that this meeting will be transcribed to assist with the preparation of minutes. By remaining in the room, you are giving your consent to this transcription. When addressing this meeting, please ensure that you do so through the microphone system at all times. You do not need to move or adjust the microphone. Simply raise your hand as usual, wait to be called, and then press the central button to activate your microphone for speaking. Speak clearly and directly so everyone in the room, remote participants and recordings can hear you. When finished, press the button again to turn it off. Mobile phones should be turned off or switched off on silent mode. If restroom facilities are available for ladies on the floor, on this floor, and halfway down the main stairwell for gentlemen. Any event of a fire alarm sound, an officer will escort everybody out of the building to the nearest fire exit safety point in the car park. Members of the public are free to leave this meeting at any time. Please raise your hand if you want to leave, and please be patient whilst a member of security comes to collect you. Finally, please be advised that abuse or intimidation of any kind will not be tolerated. Any disturbances will result in the meeting being adjourned. Anyone who is deemed to breach the requirements will be warned to refrain. And if the behaviour persists, they will be required to leave the meeting. Now we'll continue with part one of the agenda, preliminaries. Apologies for absence. Are there any apologies for absence?
There are no apologies for this meeting.
Declaration, is there any declarations of interest? Does any member wish to declare any interest on respect to any items on the agenda? You? Do I have permission to sign the minutes from the meeting held on the 27th of November 2025?
Agreed.
Could we ask the Assistant Director, Leisure and Local Services, Bill Perry, to provide an update, please?
Madam Chair, this update is for items that are not already covered within this evening's agenda. The first is Central Park security. Following the decision not to renew the security and gate locking service at Central Park, gates have been unlocked since the 31st of August. Since then, Democratic Services have been liaising with the Community Safety Team, CCD team, and Environmental Health team to monitor the situation of any reports of criminality at Central Park. Between the 1st of September and the last committee meeting on the 27th of November, there were 11 reports of alleged criminal behaviour ranging from antisocial behaviour to unconfirmed reports from now and now. None of these reports have been during the period when the gates were previously locked. Since the last meeting of the committee in November 25, there have been no reports to the police and no reports to the Community Safety Team, CCD team, or Environmental Health team. As the number of incidents remain relatively small, the committee may wish to seek another update for its July meeting so that they can establish a picture after the return of lighter evening. It is agreed, if it is agreed by committee today, Democratic Services will liaise with the relevant teams nearer the time of that meeting and ensure the committee has an update then. Should there be any change in reporting patterns between now and then, members of the committee would be updated. At present, the working group has not met again, and the committee may wish to consider whether it should now be disbanded. The second item is the highways. Members had expressed an interest in hearing from the County Council portfolio holder for highways, who have been due to attend the Open and Scrutiny Committee. This was due to take place on the 4th of September, and this will now occur on the 17th of March. The further details will be provided members following this meeting. Third item is the Community Governance Review. At the meeting of full council on the 12th of January, members noted the outcomes of the stage 1 consultation and approved the draft recommendations of the Community Governance Review Working Group as set out in the report to full council. The working group met on the 15th of January and agreed the provisional terms of the stage 2 consultation plan and communication strategy. The consultation documentation will be presented to the next meeting of the working group for approval on the 12th of February, and the consultation will be launched shortly after, which will remain open for a period of 6 weeks. Members will be invited to promote the consultation in their respective boards, parish council, and through their community organisation.
Thank you. Are there any questions from any members of the public received to the working day of this meeting?
There are none for this meeting.
Does any person attending the public gallery wish to address the meeting today? Good evening, Mr. Ward.
Good evening. Just a very good statement. It's not a question, it's a statement. I'd just like to thank the committee for writing that letter to the County Council after my question 2 sessions ago. I wasn't very happy with the response, but I got the response. So thank you very much for writing it. And that is all. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Right, agenda item 1. First item of business is the review of 2025 events and funding proposal for events of 26-27, which starts on page 7 of the agenda. And I'd like to ask Councillor Bell-Dawson to present the report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, everybody. I'm bringing this report forward to Boston Town Area Committee on the proposed events programme options for 2026-27, while also providing a review of events in 2025. BTAC contributes funds to a diverse events programme for Boston residents, supporting community cohesion and town centre vitality. Previous years have seen strong attendance at events from residents, contributing to increased footfall and positive town perception. Detailed in the report in Appendix 1 is a full impact report of events held in 25-26. There are 2 proposals presented within this report this evening. Option 1, £41,500. This maintains a core programme of free community and children's events, including Central Park Beach and 6 weeks of summer activities, Central Park Skate Jam with Team Rubicon, Boston's strongest competition and food fest, and the 3-day Christmas festival with 17,000 BTAC contribution. Option 2 is for £65,500. This includes all of option 1 plus a large-scale inclusive music event with £24,000 additional funding to showcase local talent, boost footfall, and enhance town image. Additional sponsorship will be sought to support delivery. External events in the town centre such as Boston Bike Nights, Boston Running Festival and Mayfair will continue as they are funded separately or externally. The recommendation on page 7 asks that members note the report and determine the preferred budget option for 2026-27 events programme. Thank you, Madam Chair. We're happy to take any questions that may form part of this discussion.
I'll now recommendation to find some questions. Level.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm very for option 2, which includes the music-based event. I think that would be very, very popular. I just questioned the cost 24,000 because to hire a PA is with the address system well under £1,000. But plus the groups that come, some may even offer to provide their own PA system, which other fans and state could use. So I just think it's a really excellent idea. I think the cost could be significantly less than that.
Obviously, there's a thank you for the question, Councillor Noble. There is obviously a lot more funding that costs to run an event than just a PA system. You've got security, you've got first aid, you've got all the fencing, you've got everything else, obviously the entertainment as well. So I think 24,000 is very good value, which has been compared to other events as well.
But, Chair, I also suppose what you anticipate the cost of security would be for this event, please. I have the
Yeah, well, obviously we're going through a procurement exercise to make sure that we get best value for money for security. We need to work with the security advisory group to determine how many security we would need as well. So I can't quite give you a figure at the moment, but I'll be able to come back to you on what a reasonable figure is. But we will need significant security for a music event like that. So it would be quite. That's a big one.
Page 11, to further strengthen our capacity to deliver safe and well-managed events. Several members of Boston Borough Council events team have completed course. Did we know how much it costed and how many people had it?
I will have to get back on the cost, but all the team now already have the IELTS training. So that is the events manager and the events officer in Boston. We saw the wider team as well in terms of our events team. So there are 3 events officers and release Lindsay that showed up. There's kind of one in South Wales as well, Christmas South Wales.
Chiefs governing?
Yes. That's looking at it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to congratulate the team on a very impressive report for last year. Boston did enjoy a series of very, very successful events, culminating in very, very successful Christmas events, only when it's slightly wider weather. Fishing council guarantee weather next year or this year, but a new suite of events. But I would like to support. I do think it's really important Boston gets back to offering its community a vibrant and successful music-based event. Haven't heard from my since Park in the Park. It all went down a storm in Boston. Hopefully we can re-establish something like that again for our town.
Yeah, very briefly. Councillor Greenfield?
Thank you. Yeah, ever since I've been elected, we've had people saying about the park. I accept that this sort of budget, we're not talking about the same event, but I do think it would be the first small steps to become larger things, I hope. So I'm more than happy to move option 2. I think we have delivered the council and the committee some really good events over the last 3 years now. And I think the people actually expect it now. I think we've missed it. So looking at our budget, I think it can forward some more people in the direction.
Councillor Danny?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I will second the proposition. Yes, I will second it. Also, I will add that I think the music is very ideal tool to bring the communities together. A lot of people like to watch music. Everybody understands music. Everybody dances to the music. Doesn't matter where does it come from. And I think it's an extra event. And for Boston, I think we've seen some events which has grown bigger and bigger, like the Strongest Man. When they started first at March Lane, it was small. It was just few friends. Now we have it in the town center. It brings a lot of people. The last one, really, it has probably thousands of people watching it all day. So there is events which is the grow with us. And I think the music event, bringing it here and spending £24,000, I think is no money to it as an investment. What we're looking for here is make the Bostonians happy and also bring them together and feel that we create things.
coming back to the security, or the member security probably is around £20 an hour per person. And that's if you get like a good firm to do that. So if you have 10 people, 1 hour is £200 and you do the maths. So it is going to cost more than £1,000. It may cost 2,000. However, it's something that we are obliged to offer to the Bostonians. And I think we should be proud to include the music, and it should be one of the main events on every year. Therefore, I'm supporting it and I'm seconding the proposition of Councillor Gleeson. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that as well. Thank you, Councillor Dunn. Also, 2 weeks ago, myself and Councillor Gilbert had a really productive meeting with the new principal at Boston College, who's very keen to come on board with events and other agenda items within the council. So obviously this will also not only benefit the community, it will also benefit the students learning as well. So we're very keen to carry on with that relationship.
Councillor Isaac.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think a lot of people have already summed up my feelings anyway. Looking through this brochure, I almost attended almost all of them. The only one I didn't attend, and I totally support option 2, by the way, is the Pride event. We've got it listed here. Is it coming back again this year, or is it too early to know whether they wish to do another Pride event? But otherwise, congratulations to the events team. As I say, I attended most of them, including the skateboard jam, and really enjoyed working with that group. So yes, just an update on whether Pride's coming back.
Thanks, Councillor. Obviously, this music event is now what we're focusing on this year. Obviously, if an external company want to come in and do a Pride event, we're always open to that. But this music event this year is the prime thing that we're focusing on.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions.
So the last party in the park was in 2006, and I think the cost was around £88,000, albeit that was a 2-day event. So I'm just curious if you've worked out the figures properly for this event.
Obviously, the team have done some thorough work on this, and the figures do add up to what we expected to be.
I was also intrigued to find a Facebook post, well, more than one Facebook post actually, from Boston Borough Council saying, save the date, coming soon, big announcement for the 2nd of August this year. And this music-based event is diaried in for August this year. Is this save the date that you've been trailing the music event that you referenced here tonight?
Yes, it is. Obviously, we couldn't announce the music event until after tonight's meeting, so that's the idea, to get some interest after the Christmas event, the success of the Christmas event. We wanted to keep people excited, ready for the new year.
So in effect, what you've done is you preempted this council committee's decision by telling the general public to save the date that something was going to happen on the 2nd of August this year, when this committee hadn't even met, this committee hadn't discussed, this committee hadn't made a decision. So I think that's quite simply outrageous for you to mislead the general public, for you to make that unilateral decision to deceive the public into saving a date, when in fact no decision had been made, and it certainly wasn't in your gift to make that decision. It's this committee who control the budget, who make the final decision, and I think you are playing fast and loose with more power, don't you?
If you obviously read the actual press release that went out, Councillor Dorian, did it actually say what the date was for? Did it actually say anything?
You just
hold on, excuse me, I haven't finished talking yet, so I let you speak, so you let me speak. I haven't finished speaking yet. Well, I haven't finished speaking.
Can we just
I'm answering the question.
But you
Madam
asked me
Chair.
a question.
I haven't answered, I haven't finished speaking. I haven't finished speaking.
You asked me,
I haven't finished speaking.
you asked me.
I haven't finished speaking. I was asking a question, yes, just be quiet until I finish, then you can speak. I give you the respect to speak, so let me speak.
We move on, please.
Yeah, yeah.
We move on.
So you preempted that.
Councillor Hepburn.
I've got another question.
No.
Right, I'll carry on speaking now.
Can I finish?
No, you must hold the line and finish the other.
The notice that went out, August 2nd, mentioned nothing about BTAC, didn't mention anything about an event, it mentioned nothing at all. So therefore, nobody's at fault, and it's nothing to do with this committee. So it's just the date went out there, nothing at all. As far as I'm concerned, nobody has been misrepresented, nothing's been prejudged or anything at all. I think Councillor Dorian again is just trying to cause trouble, but I think he should say to bring it up and cause trouble on the event. Sorry, but that's how I feel.
Right, we'll let Councillor Broughton finish, please, and then.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Also on that advert, does it say where, what it is or anything? So how am I preempting anything? There's no preemption of anything. All I said is save the date. There's no relation to anything that's been said.
Correct.
Everything's been done by the correct procedures. So if you're a imaginary head, Councillor Dorian, amongst so many other things, you're obviously wrong on that point.
Here.
We'll leave that there. Councillor Doran?
Yeah, thank you. You just admitted that the save the date was for this new event. You just admitted it earlier. I asked.
Everything's preempted when there's nothing on the actual press release.
So if
So-
you have, so let's follow the logic. If we don't approve this budget, what are you going to put on the 2nd of August? There is nothing else in backup.
Wait and see that. Wait and see. There's no preemption of a music event or anything. No.
Let's go for the vote. Let's go for the vote. Let's go for the vote.
Councillor Fjord, please. No, I know, I'm sorry, I know we haven't, but I will come back to you when, I don't want all the tits happening going on, when we can just move on with the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Councillor
I just want to give my observations on this. It's January. We're talking about August. We're talking about penciling it out in the diary for August. If this committee would deem that it's inappropriate to go ahead with music event, we have found some other events to put in that slot. The date in August, there's nothing tying us down to anything in particular. We're keeping it open. But it would be very nice if this committee would sanction the use of that date for this specific music event. Those days.
Totally agree.
Here. Let's go to the vote.
Councillor Doran?
Thank you. In May this year, you brought forward a paper to Cabinet around sponsorship, which Cabinet approved. Could you bring us up to date on how the sponsorship is going?
Yeah, sponsorship going very well, Councillor Dorian.
Thank you. So could you quantify that for us, please, and tell us how much you've raised in sponsorship and what sponsorship you hope to attract to help pay for this music?
Obviously, we can't discuss figures in an open meeting, so I'm more than happy to discuss it after.
Okay, well, that would be why you can't discuss sponsorship in an open meeting, because it should be open and above board. So if you're saying that it's commercially sensitive in some way, then I would like to request a paper to this committee within 5 working days, detailing the sponsorship that we've raised, who it's raised from, and what it's going to be. Thank you, Chair. Yeah.
Just to clarify, Madam Chair, for you, the sponsorship package was put forward in May. It had only just been sanctioned and is moving forward at speed.
That's not speaking.
Councillor Austin?
Keep smiling. Everybody's smiling.
Correct, Councillor Austin, speak.
Thank you very much. I misheard something. I feel like I just put me straight, please. You said the year that the first Pride event was held was 2007.
Starting in the park.
Party in the park. Oh, and who, may I ask, who put on party in the park? Because if I'm right, none of us were actually councillors. I'm as wrong as anyone that was council. I was elected in 2007. So I just wonder, what, well, presumably our predecessors must have held, put that on.
Yeah.
That's all. I just was.
Do you know the answer to that, Phil?
Never understood something.
It is slightly for my time of being a Boston Borough as well, but it was a council event. Yes, it did cost, I think it originally £80,000 at the end, which was more than the council had previously done.
Any more questions? Councillor Daniel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's not a question, it's just rather a comment, and I think sensible comment. You know, when we take the events on, and as I said before, it's for the Bostonians and for people to enjoy. Some of them will be successful and some of them will be failure. We have to accept that that's life. We cannot be successful in every event we do and praise it and say, yeah, it did work. But however, we try our best to give the best for Boston. All what we want is Boston to thrive and be better than other places, because I think we are doing that. And I'm not here praising anyone. I'm just talking from myself. And we have to support these things. We can be critical, we can be negative, but to be critical and just creating hassle over hassle to prove a point. I mean, there is an event last year wasn't successful and we spent a lot of money. And that's fact. So therefore now we have to look forward and see what we can do. And we have to learn from the past to create the positive things and the outcomes we're praying for. It's simple as that. Anyway, I second it and probably we go for the vote.
Councillor Pickering?
Okay, just following on from that Councillor Danny's comment about failure. I think failure only occurs when this condition is out of our control, whether a situation in the town or diversions of road or traffic or whatever. I don't see anything being a failure. Everything that this events team does, the portfolio holder responsible, is all positive, it's all progressive, it's all about growth, it's all about bringing more people into the town, it's about providing more for the residents. It's to show people that Boston really does care, and I've got a very good and adventurous events management program. So failure to me, not in the question. Failure is because things happen outside our control. Just want to qualify that. You can't deny it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, move on. Right. Thank you. The committee is asked to consider the two budget options set out in the report, namely budget option 1, 41,500, including 17,000 funding contribution for a 3-day Christmas festival. And budget option 2, 65,500, including 17,000 funding contribution for a 3-day Christmas festival and a further 24,000 contribution towards an inclusive music event. The committee is required to vote on recommendations in the report. Which option would members like to vote on first? Oh, okay. Right, okay. So those in favour? Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Option 2.
Yeah, option 2 is fine. Second item is sorry. The second item is the draft budget setting report 26-27, which starts on page 31 of the agenda. I will ask Nicole Hayes, PSLS, Finance Delivery Manager, to the report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this report starts on page 31 of your agenda and details the draft budget for 26-27 and the medium term financial plan from 26-27 through to 2030-31. There are 3 recommendations contained in this report. As we noted, to note and recommend to Cabinet of Council the 26-27 budget, medium term financial plan, the preset demand for 6-7 and the increase of the minimum reserve balance. If it's okay with members, and myself, Chair of the committee, I'd like to take you through the cover report and table 1 of the Appendix A and take the remaining tables of the right. Appendix A sets out the individual budgets and service area, and the cover report shows the budget position, including budget, precept, and reserve. With this in mind, I'm happy to take questions on both reports, or we have to talk through Appendix 1 and Appendix 2.
Thank you. Well, now open the meeting question. And if you'd like me to go through. Oh, right. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you.
So starting on page 32, the timeline for the 26-27 budget is as follows. So the proposed budget is presented to the subcommittee tonight with the recommendation of Cabinet. Wednesday, the 18th of February, the final budget petition will be presented to Cabinet before the consideration and recommendation for Council. And on Monday, the 2nd of March, all Council will get matter approval budget and agree the boundary. In recent years, members have increased the precept to enhance the area, and the proposed increase 26-27 was 1.67%, and then 1% thereafter for the remaining 4 years. Table 1 on page 33 shows the impact. The boundary charge would be £82.44 with a precept requirement of £739,470. Other options outlined below for respective figures, including a 1% increase, 0.5% increase, and scenario. The 1.67% increase will raise BTAC boundary charge of £1.35, approximately 3 pence per week. Table 2 shows the impact on a weekly and annual basis compared to 25-26. Jumping ahead to section 4 and table 3 on page 34, the tax base has increased by 0.31% from 25-26, which is equivalent to a 29 full brand equivalent homes.
Music festival started earlier.
Still needing to go in now.
The tax base represents all the differently banded homes on average that will be in the area for the coming year, taking into account the discounts, exemptions, and collection rates. So moving on to the assumptions of the budget, inflation, employee costs, and lease charges are in line with the assumptions set in the council's budget. You have to turn your attention to table 4 on page 35. This shows the budget for 26-27 by expenditure and income, with the 25-26 budget as a comparison. The total expenditure is £708,450, and the total income is just below £21,000. As the net expenditure is below the budget requirement, a contribution of just over £92,000 is to be made into reserve. Although this is the current budget position, during 26 and 27, a wider review of recharges and BTAC expenditure will be undertaken, which may result in further reduction or potential increase. So the movements between 25-26 and 26-27 are listed below the table and start on point 5.3. The significant movement within third-party payments relates to the reduction of ground recharges and the removal of street cleaning recharges, following the surge review that has been completed this time. Secondly, the reduction in employee costs is based on operation service changes and realigning staff budgets to coincide with services.
Turning to page 36. The projected reserve is shown in table 5. 25-26 shows the in-year deficit of about 42 being funded from reserves, with a minimum reserve balance requirement of 7%. In 26-27, we see that reserve contribution of just over 92,000, and the minimum reserve balance increases to 100,000, in line with the recommendation proposed members tonight. Continuing through the years, you will see the reserve contributions in and the balance of the reserve. This is a planning purpose only and will inevitably change. Finally, table 6 on the following page shows the summarised position of the budget requirement. The requirement is £779,470 with a tax base of £9,455, resulting in that family charge of £83. If I could just take you to the first page on Appendix A, on page 41. So this table summarises all those individual tables included in the appendices, and it shows you the draft medium term plan for 26-27 through to 2030-31. So looking at the draft budget for 26-27, you'll see the open spaces budget of the 91,940. This includes increased maintenance costs on pay equipment and removal of employee costs in line with service delivery. Allotments budget of £600 shows you that is a credit side of income. The additional movement from the prior year, but those are movements relate to rental income and review charges. The Central Park budget is £120,310, a reduction from the prior year due to the gate and stopping and the ground maintenance solution. Moving on to public conveniences, there is a budget of £175,440, reflecting the increase in water rates and usage for the current financial year and the revision of supply and services with income in line with actual volume. The events budget is £149,610 and includes a reduction in employee costs due to the service delivery and changes of the increase in relation to general aviation. Moving on to town centre maintenance. So that budget is £114,960, no significant movement, only minor ones between. The administration budget of £25,660 is a 26k reduction due to street cleaning, recharge no longer being there, and increased spend from general education. And finally, that takes our net expenditure to £687,320. As this is below the pre-tax income of £767,470, there is no efficiency target set for 26-27, but opposite that, you've got the surplus of the 92,000, which will then be put into reserve.
Thank you. Well, now, sorry, open the meeting for comments and questions, please. Councillor Noble.
Yes, I'm not convinced of the rationale behind this proposed increase of the reserve from 70 to, I think it's 100,000, because it's been 70,000, I think, for some time now, without any problem. So we won't be convinced why we didn't increase it by that much. And the other thing, as regards the proposed increase, we're going with the proposed, the suggested 1.67% increase. BTAC, yes, for the precept and the funding charge. After it's a 1% increase. Yeah, I appreciate that inflation's going up, but we've made a projection, haven't we, that it will be 3.7 for 26-27 and 2% for, I think, personally, the way things are at the moment, I've been amazed at inflation has come down to the way it's come down to. So, my preference is to go for 1% increase, but I noticed that even with these draft figures, according to Appendix A on page 41, we're going to have a surplus of 92,150. So if you reduce it to 1% increase, we're still going to get clearly in surplus line deficit. So that's my suggestion. So with the option, the 1% increase. So thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Please.
You move one.
Did you move that?
No, but I will move it in for a second. Thank you. Congratulations.
For a seconder?
Can we repeat what Councillor Noble is moving? Just 1% increase.
Reduction of 1%. Because you talked about, I think it's put clear
Sorry, because he talks about the £100,000 as well, we deserve to work against it, so just.
Yeah, I know, it's just $10,000 has been adequate in years, but I can't see one unless they have to increase quite enough.
Sorry, I didn't get you say. Just for clarification.
Councillor Lodge?
So you are saying reduction in 1% or 1% increase?
Sorry, I'm saying about 1% increase, yeah, but rather than 1.67% increase in the dog contribution. Sure.
Councillor Dearborn?
I'd like to propose a 1.67% increase. Second.
Do you have a second? And you seconded, Councillor, was it?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, thank you, yeah. Thank you. Councillor Gilbert?
Yeah, I mean, the numbers are great, aren't they? I mean, we could do them around all over the place and we never seem to get huge answers. So we actually do numbers come on me. Thank you very much for explaining it. I mean, I'm open-minded on this one. I don't know one, but I'd like to know, if possible, what the distinction in terms of service delivery would be if we were to go with the 1% option.
So you can see on that table one, you've got your preset requirement and the different figures. So for 1%, it'd be 774,365. And then comparing that to your table one on page 41, your net expenditure is 687,000. So you're still below your preset requirement. So on that basis, you'd still be able to contain the service that would have been budgeted for in this report.
With the 1%. Even half it. Sorry? Even half it.
And I actually support 1.67. The reason for my doing that is I feel that as we're looking to transition from BTAC into a town committee, I do think we need to ensure we have a sufficient budget sitting there. I do feel that there will be costs that at the moment we're not really aware of. And I'm therefore loath to go for the lower figure. The 1.67 in truth is the maximum we can go for. I would actually support a higher figure in truth, but that because of the way the government limitation and the way our budget works, the 1.67 actually is the most we can go for. And I think just in this case, to be safe, I do think we need to go for the lower. Would I accept if we put in a burden? However, this is a very small amount, and I do think we just need to have that reserve there. Also, again, the problem comes if you go for the smaller amount, that actually then feeds on in subsequent years. And if you remember from the 2007 to 11 council, that they froze the council tax, which was fine, was fair at the time because it's part of what their actual election commitment was. I'm not this I what actually did, but of course that then went on to really badly affect subsequent councils because that was roughly £1 million below what it should have been by the end of that period. But of course, when the government brought in the restrictions on increase, that multiplied through. And so I do think just because we're going to be under such change that we do need to make sure that we have as much budget as we can.
Thank you. Councillor Arthur?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I tend to agree, and Councillor Noble mentioned that inflation is unlikely to hit their 2% target. So I agree also on the 1.67. I just want kind of, unless I missed it, and reference to page 45 of this report, do we have any income from toilets, i.e. the charges that we make from toilets? Because I can't see the income. I can see the cost, the maintenance cost and various other bits, but do we have any income? I know it costs us
in cash collection services of 2,230.
Bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, just a all around social receipt fees and charges. So the budget for 25-26 is a little over 16,000, and then the proposed 6-7 is just below 14,000. The last few lines just above the grand total.
Thank you. Councillor Fielder?
Yeah, I think on balance, I think I'll support the higher figure. I hadn't actually thought, actually recent, but I can't be reminded me that we are going through a community governance review at the moment. Of course, there's a degree of uncertainty about how that's going to work out in terms of what financial issues and implications there may be with that. But also, I know as well, in terms of the inflation comment, we are actually increasing, increase it by 1% in subsequent years, projecting 2% increase in inflation. I think that's right. So, yeah, it probably is as well. Be cautious.
Yes, Councillor Ball?
Yes, actually, the answer I wanted to answer global. Even if we are increasing 1.67% and 1% in the subsequent year, if you see page 41, the surplus is decreasing every year. And that too, it's a plan. We don't know what's going to happen for the surplus may far more less. And that's the reason I'm supporting our
Any more questions?
No, one.
Thank you. Just one point of clarification. Yeah. So I was appreciating we've got the figures in 20% but are we necessarily bound to stick with that figures here? Surely we can determine each year, can we not, what our precept should be?
Yeah, so effectively today you're asked to recommend to Cabinet the 6-7 position, and then we just forecast the next 4 years, and next year you'll have an opportunity to then go through your account. Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Beaton?
Well, just very good, obviously, it may not even be answered. It could be the town council.
Or Trump will take over.
Yeah.
Is there any further questions?
Can I just clarify, Councillor Noble, are you suggesting an alternative proposal?
Yes, what I said was the 1% rather than 1.67%. I think it's on just down there.
Sorry, I'm not seconding it, just like to come back. Councillor Noble, just relax. No, that's what I was going to come to. Just point of clarification, because Councillor Noble has suggested the 1% increase. However, he didn't get any second. So his motion, whatever his motion, should fall. And then we go for the vote for the. Just to clarify. Sorry, Jonathan.
No, Councillor Capewood proposed.
The councillor Capewood has proposed the recommendation in the report. What was Councillor Wood? Councillor Wood is taking this. Yes. Vote on that.
Right. Note, 2026-27, an NTFP position recommends to Cabinet full council for approval within the inclusion of the council's annual budget report. 2, recommend Cabinet and full council the level of its special expense reset of 26-27 at £779,470 and the council tax boundary charge of £82.44. 3, recommend up to Cabinet the full council increase the minimum reserves balance of 70,000 for 100,000 for 26-27 to 2030-2031. We'll now move to the vote. All those in favour? Was anyone against? Any abstention? Okay. The next item of business is Central Park Green Flag application, which starts on page 49 of the agenda. And I would like to ask the Leisure Services and Contracts Manager, Scott Higgins, to present the report, please.
Yeah. This report seeks approval to submit a green flag application to Central Park. Green flag is a national benchmark with well-managed park, providing independent recognition, strengthening the civic pride, supporting our priorities around health, wellbeing, environment, and sustainability. The purpose of the report is to set out the case for applying for the award and to continue delivering improvements on the management. This committee has already made significant investment in Central Park, skate park, the multiple games area, refurbished play areas, community gardens, wildlife features, and improved safety measures. All help transform the park into a safe and inclusive environment space. Accessibility has also been enhanced through features such as changing place facility. These improvements placed in a strong position for accreditation. This committee first discussed the ambition for green flag status in July 2023 and formally endorsed it in February 2024. Since then, the members and officers have worked together with a dedicated green flag working group meeting regularly to develop a comprehensive management plan aligned with green flag criteria. This plan is shaped through member input, stakeholder engagement, and public consultation, setting a clear vision, identifying priorities, and ensuring we continue to raise standards year on year. Applying for the Green Flag Award brings clear benefits of national recognition, encourages community involvement, highlights the park's contributions to health and wellbeing, strengthens Western's profile as a visitor destination. Importantly, it supports continuous improvement and helps secure future investment. However, should we be unsuccessful, we will receive detailed independent feedback, and this will identify areas for development and guide us into refining the management plan before reapplying. I'm going to hand you over, and Mindy Reid, the operations manager from Neighbourhood, will provide a brief update on the work that we're currently doing.
Okay, so the current works underway in Central Park. The neighbourhoods team have been working with the general to the operational time, with many additional tasks in the park being performed, turf edging, pruning, and general thinning of vegetation. This is the portion of all the contracted works that they're coordinating, such as new footpaths in clearance of the main planting areas ready for the horticultural effect. Planned improvements and priorities for the next phase. Tree planting is planned for March, in addition to providing over 700 plants to Boston in bloom for the relaunch of the main planting areas. New signage for the park is being constructed, which is informative and educational, and contractors being looked at for the Art Deco beds. The sensory beds are also to be set. We've also had play area externally assessed with details being packed due this week. The teams have submitted a large bid to Pride in Place, and we await the details on which will be available to the next, which will enable the next major phases of development. These will be supporting, the works will support the wider management plan and the green flag aspiration. Educational signage, new horticultural themes and tree planting, all enrich play their part by creating a more engaging, attractive and meaningful environment. Educational signage helps visitors connect with nature by explaining local wildlife, environmental processes and the park's history, engaging curiosity and informal learning for both children and adults. Introducing new horticultural themes as visual interest throughout the seasons, increasing biodiversity and creates distinct character areas that make the park feel more vibrant and welcoming. Tree planting provides a long-term environmental benefit, improving air quality, offering shade, boosting habitat diversity and enhancing climate resilience, while also making the park more beautiful and calming. Together, these elements transform the park into a richer, more immersive space that supports well-being, education and biodiversity.
So in summary, Central Park continues to improve and remains a valued asset for our community. And submitting the green flag application recognises this progress and supports ongoing enhancement. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Nobles first.
Thank you. Yes, I thought it was a very well presented report. And I thought the good things are, it's not very expensive initially, so I need to £440 for building, which was a really significant amount. I suppose here we're going to do some more tree planting in March 26. So I thoroughly support the proposal. But I just say, this is a very minor point, spellings. We've got an American spelling program on page 65, can we not? Spelling. And also the spelling mistake on page 14. But so these things should be proved then, surely you just need to put the spell check and shouldn't really be any stuff. But I hope we support the whole concept. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. That's a big one.
Councillor Noble. We have some quiet people going to speak. Councillor Noble, not nitpicky. There's an Elvis here on the front cover of Lincolnshire. That'd be more nitpicking. What I want to say to everybody in the room is I've got to congratulate Scott and Phil and Lindy, who've been the three drivers of this programme. I mean, Scott, obviously chaired the meeting. There's some of us in this room today on that working group. We talked about 1 or 2 years to get this report sorted out. It's gone from 1 or 2 years down to about 6 or 7 months. And I've got to say, the work that's gone into this is incredible. I mean, I know we've got a working group as well, but it's driven by the officers. And with their dedication, their passion, their hard work, and all the things that they've done, this report is fantastic. And I recommend it, I endorsed it, and I clearly want to be our crown in the jewel, get this award. I'm very passionate about that because Central Park for us is a place that people recognise, and all the things that Linda mentioned that's going on in there is absolutely incredible. And as Councillor Noble said, it hasn't cost a lot of money because he tends to be very stingy about things. And I know he is because he's Mr. Moneypenny. So anyway, was. So let me just say to all of you, thank you very much. I'm really endorsing this. The report is fantastic. And really, I ask all the members on this table to go along with it. Let's get on with the job of getting that award. Thank you.
I just want to agree with Councillor Fairwood on that because when we talked about the briefing, I'm so excited about this. And like I said, Central Park is a gem. We've got a gem there. So yeah, amazing, brilliant. And it's Councillor Gilbert, eh?
Yeah, well, I just want to add to what everybody else has said, really, but also make a couple of additional observations. The first one is, working towards a goal is always valuable. You can achieve the goal itself. Achieve it. I hope we do achieve it. Great, we do. Central Park is more than just a park. It's our event space. It's a place where we see the town coming together with nature, where people enjoy recreation, various sorts of recreation. It'd be great to think that our park is recognised as a superlative environment that potentially can be. Just want to do some nitpicking. I picked up by Councillor Fairwood about the elms on the front page.
Well, I don't want to state that.
But I also noticed that I'm always wondering if each shoots the leaves. You know that book, each shoots the leaves, where it's on to listing. I did note on page 60 that it said following the loss of the older people's park. Where's this older people's park? I seem to have missed, but actually I think it is following the loss of the older, people's park. It's the park that we lost. It was down some area. Yeah, other than fantastic. And hopefully we can get some, you can kickstart our own system.
You started it, don't say it.
Councillor Wright, no difficulty.
Nothing to me, my spelling's too bad. Just a couple of things really. So the park dates back to the late 18th century. Is any of the original trees in that park still present today, do you know? And the other thing that was missed out and was an over whatever, but every Sunday the children have a children's park run. Every Sunday at 8 AM. If anyone wants to go over and volunteer on a Sunday at 8 AM, but it should be included in the report because it's a community thing that's run every Sunday. So maybe that can be adapted into the future report unless I missed it, of course. Other than that, I think it's great to see the park. I mean, I remember when I first moved here, we had a nearly dilapidated bowling green and I remember a lot of my members of Wigan East didn't like the idea of a skate park. But I think it's been an absolutely tremendous asset to redevelop and move on. The courts there are constantly in use. So I think we've done a lot over the last 10 years in that park to make improvements. Going for the green flag will definitely be worth it and absolutely support it in any way I can. And hopefully we can find some money from reserves to make improvements even more in future years. Thank you.
Yeah, just as far as on page 21, there's a mention of the weekly June part.
What we do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a small mention, but it's
oh, isn't that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the green flag, for me, I take it as a challenge. And when there is a challenge, it shows your character. It shows how you are built and what you can fight for. And I think the green flag is one of those that Boston will have to face and we have to win it. And I think the team are doing their best, except spelling American and English. That is the thing. But as I said, I'm a member of that committee, and all the ideas are pouring in, and the officers are helping us. And I think there is improvement. You can see it now, and I'm glad to see that the old post office, I was talking to the building, is going to be renovated, I think, to flats and shops downstairs. So things are there. Once we have our probably examiners coming in, and you talk about the projects around Boston, and as you see, like Lascaux, old theatre is coming up alive. So these things, it will improve Boston. It's a small things and bits here and there. Putting it all together is something for us to be proud of. And I think we should support it in this council. And probably if we find more money, we can create more diverse places around. And I think the trees, they are very old, some of them. The benches are also very old. But it fits the purpose. Believe you me, it looks like an antique thing, which is very rare to find. So if we keep this kind of characters, it does give Boston something we should to think about. I mean, you can take a walk through if you're a visitor, you can take a walk through the Central Park all the way to the Victorian Cemetery. And it's a beautiful walk, and you can come from the other side of Horncastle Road, and you see the mill, you see the stamp. So there is things to offer, and I think the park is at the heart of these attractions. And thanks to you, as I say, we support it, and we hope we can win. And we should win. Thank you. Is that all right, Mr.
Well done. Well done. Very brief.
I hope my job will be done.
Interested in a bit about the loss of the older people.
Oh,
All right, you might say, well, you sent me there if you like, but I've actually come across, just lurking somewhere in my husband's office, a photograph of that park.
bring it up.
And I will, if someone can remind me, I will bring it, because it really was,
well, I think you say it was before, even before his time, let alone mine. So,
It disappeared
yeah,
from document.
you know,
Okay, so
there's just little things in that picture that I think, oh yes, I remember that even from when I was a little girl at Boston High School, you know, and walking back to catch the bus somewhere. Yeah, so, you know, it's something to smile at, I think, but quite irrelevant, but I will say it. Just reminded me.
Thank you. Councillor Arthur?
Keep it brief.
Very brief. Well done, Steve.
Yeah.
Really grateful. Now I realise my staple kind of went through that top line on page 21. That's not your fault, that's
Yeah.
So there you go. Great report, well done, and I hope we achieved it, and we only can offer success to your team going forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, sorry, councillor Gleeson, who was the best?
Yeah, this is really fantastic. I feel. If you look at that, the application document, we've managed as an organisation, I think their officers worked really hard, bring together so much of what was going on and what's in the past, to make a really good picture. As I understand it, there are very few towns that actually have such a large park in its centre. The only one people to think of at the briefing was Southampton. And so it really is an asset that I don't think we value as much as we should. And I think as Councillor Gilbert said, a lot of the work that's gone on in the preparation of this, even if we aren't successful, and I really do feel we should be, because they've worked so hard. You know, it has brought together the policies and the vision, and has made Central Park central to our thinking. And so I would like, as it was me who suggested in July 2023 that we actually started to look at them, I would like to formally propose that we do before the application.
I would second.
Well, I've heard it.
I'll call it. Councillor Woodley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with anything people said here on this part. I would like other green space within the town to be promoted in the same way, because my ward is quite a long way from Central Park. And access to my ward will be some mile and a half to get to Central Park. There are green spaces inside my ward, but they're all controlled by the developer. And the developers don't do a very good job running their business. Like cheap stuff, you know, constant one money off one city, that's it. Which is not good enough. So there's a lot else to do in my board. But that's some of the wonderful things we're doing in Central Park. You know, replicated elsewhere. Because I think it's important everybody has access to somewhere they would enjoy spending, you know, their free time. You know? And it's, yeah, Central Park's lovely. And I like it. And that's got everything here. But I need to be aware of the fact that whatever has free access. It'd be nice to put some of the green spaces in my ward, which are considerable distance from this place, which is the same attention.
Yes, and I agree with like that in my ward too. Like that. We've got green space, haven't we? Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else? That's Rusty.
Can I remind members that my St Thomas's ward, which is really way out of the town centre, that's Garfield's Mayfield. That belongs to us, BTAC, doesn't it? And that's, you know, well, it's used by a lot of people who don't actually live in the immediate area. They come out from the town centre because it's a valued, you know, a valued resource, really. So, you know, we must make the most of these, mustn't we?
Just on these points that people are making, I'm presuming that this will act as, if we do get, it will be specific to Central Park, but that but this will act as a blueprint I guess, so we could look at getting the green flag for other areas.
Yeah, so this will act as a template that we can then replicate this across not just Boston, but we can replicate across the partnership.
Thank you. Brilliant.
Brilliant, yeah. We're talking about partnership. Are we going to challenge Ascot Gardens then? And see which is in its building, which is the best one?
Other questions, yeah? Okay, thank you. The committee is asked to support the submission of the Green Flag Award application for Central Park and endorse the continuing implementation of the management plan to maintain and improve standards.
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't got a second, yeah? And can we go to the vote, please? All those for?
Yeah.
And thank you to the officer for your excellent work.
Well done. Congratulations all of you. Well done.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
And you don't get this.
I'm going to get a clap in here.
The final item in this work programme is the work programme 25-26, which starts on page 39 of the agenda. I will ask the Assistant Director of Regional Marketing, Bill Perry, to provide more information.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The members will note that on the work programme have been updated to include a report on park open spaces revision, which we consider at the next meeting. In addition, there will be a number of reports pending, which will be added to work programme in the coming months. One aspect, of course, we did talk about the Central Park security earlier in the meeting. We do have a sort of a working group looking at that. It's whether that group wishes to stay formed or does it wish to step down for the moment and reconvene should it need to.
Councillor Pickford?
I would like to see us look at this on an ongoing basis. I think we just can't accept that it hasn't been, no security in the last 6 months or whatever. If that's the orders, I'm not convinced that we just let it go and let it continue. I think it needs continuous reviewing every 6 months to find out the data of how much damage and how much problem we've had in the park, and then we can decide then whether we want to look at having a further security sort of operation or what. I don't think we should let it go. No.
But the reporting will continue because that will come back in July. It's whether the working group wanted to meet or today wants to step down for the moment.
Every 6 months, my view.
Gilbert?
I think it is probably a good idea to continue to monitor this sort of slightly forward way. Those of us who kicked off about 3 or 4 years ago, all over Facebook, and we had a couple of keyboard warriors driving an agenda about the park, about crime, about the threatening nature of the park and union. So I think it might be wise just to ensure that you don't get caught out.
I think we need to distinguish between us getting as a committee 6 monthly reports on the situation, but the working group, which is me.
You're a one-man working group.
Well, there was 2 of us, but that was to look at whether we renew the contract.
Right.
We looked at it, we recommended that we didn't, and we didn't. Now, and then to stop a new working group, if obviously in 6 months' time we get a report of bandits and stuff like that, but I think this working group should be disbanded. We have half-yearly reports on the state of play, and then we can, if we find we are getting increased issues there, we form a new group, to look at the way forward with that problem.
That's the fifth one.
Okay, so I hear what you say, Councillor Gleeson. If That's the case of disbanding this working group, which hasn't been working anyway for some time in the sound of it. As part of the Green Flag Award, I'd like to include the security operation of the Central Park. My worry is, and my fear is, that we get an award. What we don't want is then having an award that it automatically is just knocked into thin air because of all the damage, violence, and all the other things that happen there. So I'm conscious and keen that we have some controls or some data on what's happening in there, and we can review it ongoing. I don't know how long the Green Flag working group's going to be working for, but if it stops, and I think we ought to continue the people that's around the table on that Green Flag working group, we should have at least a quarterly meet just to sort of discuss all the issues and outcomes of the problems in the park. I just think we've got to have some responsibility here for that damage limitation, and quite frankly, we could do it whilst the working group's working. Like after that, if it stops, then we can continue as a separate little group. I do feel that very hard about the fact we do need to keep this controlled. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Downing?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I totally agree with Councillor Fairpoint, because my idea and what I was going to talk about is the same thing. I think we should monitor the park as close as possible, especially we're going for a challenge and a competition.
Correct.
We want to win something. If we're going to sleep on it for 6 months, we don't know what can happen next month or February, March. We don't know where the inspection could be happening. So we have to be very careful with that. And I wouldn't mind even to have an update, probably as frequent as every month if we can, about the crime and what's happening around, so we can tackle these issues and we can work around it. If we let it stay until July, then probably it may get bigger. Therefore, as I say, we have to be very precautious and we have to work, very close with it until we pass our challenge. Once we pass our challenge, then we can ease certain things, and then we can look at other means of how probably to protect the park. Thank you.
Councillor Stibb?
Is this Green Flag Award, which is obviously for a park in a town situation, is it can follow my train of thought? Some beaches get special awards for being,
Yes.
super
Yellow flag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yellow. I wasn't sure about the colour, but is it like the equivalent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's nice to know.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not suggesting that we'll have our little beach when we have one to get accredited. Anyway, no, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the point Councillor Fairpoint made, it sensibly makes sense. I think obviously the working group should continue until we get the award, and then when we get the award, it should change into a monitoring group that is monitoring the park to make sure that we, in subsequent years, could keep the award. I mean, basically, the award is only awarded for the year.
Yes.
So we do need to keep on top of the situation. And I think following security, or the whole of Central Park really, should become a little working group that we could keep an eye on it, because it is a gem. It's an important. It does need. We do need to make sure that it is the best that we have.
Here, also.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Any more? No? Right, okay. Thank you. I was going to vote on. Yeah, we've already voted.
I lost interest.
Comments have been recorded by officers and work programme will be formulated in accordance with what has been agreed with the evening. Thank you. That concludes the business of the committee. The next scheduled meeting is Thursday, 26th of March. Yeah, but